In the United States, there are approximately 2.4 million grandparents, raising 4.5 million grandchildren. When a grandparent assumes full custody, life is much different than that of being raised by a biological parent.
My son had problems with alcohol usage, and the mother had been in foster homes herself from when she was in her teens.
Managing grandchildren's multiple needs and wants challenges many grandparents emotionally, yet their fears of not meeting the perception of a particular standard of care makes them reluctant to acknowledge and discuss their shortcomings.
I'm done. I'm just letting you know that. I'm done.
When I realized that I had to bring my two grandchildren into the home, it was quite an adjustment for me. But at the same time, it was a wonderful experience, being that I had always wanted girls and I had two boys. So it was an adjustment, being I was late in age and not having been having children around for a time. But it was a wonderful experience. But I wanted to have my grandchildren because I didn't want them in foster care, and I wanted them to get to know each other as sisters. 75 years old and raising a teenager is much different from a younger mother. Being that you have to adjust to the teenagers themselves and the way they look at life, so different from the way it was yesteryears. At 75 years of age, I never thought that I would be raising teenagers again. And I sometimes think about where I would have been or what I would have been doing if it wasn't for that, because I would have probably been traveling all over the world and doing some of the things as a single mother. However, I had to make the adjustment to raising two teenagers. It changed my life and turned me around completely. In comparing teenagers today and teenagers of yesterday, I had to make adjustments with my grandchildren to try and understand their way of thinking and doing things. I found it quite different in raising my two granddaughters than it was in raising my biological sons in the 60s. Back then, they went to activities that cost no money. It's the financial end of it. They didn't have night activities like they do today. They had to be chaperoned in most cases, and what made me really nervous in today, because a lot of the night activities, the teenagers just want to go alone, and back then they didn't drive like they are today. So I had to make the adjustment because it was quite frightening for me with my girls being out there alone going to activities, and I was not there with them. So a lot of adjustments on my part had to be made financially, because all the activities today cost money. They like to dress differently than they did back in the 60s when my boys was coming up. They did not require a lot of different type of clothing. They didn't require going out to eat before they went out with their friends. It's so different today than it was when I was raising my boys.